Assalamu alaikum, my beloved brothers and sisters. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to say, because this one reminder might change your rizq forever. There is a surah in the Quran that most Muslims recite without realizing something extraordinary. A surah that shifts your destiny, removes silent blocks in your income, and brings barakah in ways the mind cannot explain. Wallahi, not because of magic, not because of shortcuts, but because when you recite this surah, you awaken a promise Allah placed inside it, a promise that unlocks provision in the most unexpected moments. And the shocking part, 99% of Muslims have no idea what this surah can do for their rizq. Stay with me, because today's reminder might be the moment your entire financial story begins to change. The surah most Muslims recite without realizing its hidden power. My beloved brothers and sisters, before we speak about rizq, before we speak about wealth, and before we speak about the doors that open when Allah decides to lift you, let us understand something much deeper. Every one of us walks through life carrying silent fears. The fear of not having enough, the fear of losing what we have, the fear of falling behind, and the fear that everyone else is moving forward except us. These fears live in the heart, even when the tongue stays quiet. But Allah, in His perfect mercy, revealed a surah that speaks directly to these fears and melts them from the inside. This surah is not just a chapter you recite. It is a direct conversation with your heart. It is a reminder that your sustenance does not come from your boss, your business, your skill, or the economy. Your rizq flows from the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who wrote every drop of provision before you were even placed in the womb of your mother. Most Muslims read this surah casually, quickly, without connecting with its depth, without realizing that it carries a powerful spiritual key that can transform the way rizq reaches you. Surah Al-Waqi'ah stands as a declaration that the one who decides who rises and who falls, who receives and who waits, who is tested and who is blessed, is Allah alone. And when you recite the surah, truly recite it with a present heart, you begin to feel a shift inside you. You start understanding that abundance was never about how much money you have. Abundance begins when your heart finally understands that Allah is the ultimate provider. This is why so many Muslims say they recited this surah and noticed that their stress reduced, their trust increased, and suddenly opportunities began to appear small at first, then bigger and bigger. Not because the surah magically changes your life, but because it changes you. It changes the way you see Allah, the way you rely on Him, the way you walk through life with calmness instead of panic. And when the heart becomes calm, Allah opens the gates of rizq effortlessly. My beloved brothers and sisters, the true power of Surah Al-Waqi'ah begins when you stop rushing through it and start absorbing the message within it. That is the moment when you begin to feel the weight of Allah's promise. The promise that your provision is written, protected, and delivered with perfect precision. And once you carry that knowledge, your entire journey toward rizq becomes peaceful, steady, and filled with barakah. How this surah breaks the invisible chains blocking your rizq. My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when a person works hard, tries every opportunity, makes every effort, and still nothing seems to move. The salary stays the same. The debts rise, the business slows down, and the heart becomes tired. You start asking yourself, why is everything so difficult for me? What am I doing wrong? Why does it feel like something is holding me back? And the truth is, most of the chains that block a person's rizq are not physical, they are spiritual and emotional chains wrapped around the heart. This surah, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, was revealed to tear those invisible chains apart. It shifts your inner state. And when your inner state shifts, your life begins to transform. People often underestimate how much rizq is connected to the heart. A heart that fears poverty pushes blessings away. A heart filled with jealousy closes its own doors. A heart filled with anxiety becomes too distracted to recognize opportunities. But a heart that trusts Allah with complete surrender attracts provision the way a flower attracts light. When you recite this surah with reflection, it begins clearing the fog inside you. It reminds you that you are not chasing wealth. You are chasing the pleasure of the one who controls wealth. It frees you from feeling desperate and replaces that desperation with dignity. It removes the feeling of I must control everything and replaces it with I will do my best and Allah will take care of the rest. This mental shift is the real key that unlocks rizq, and Surah Al-Waqi'ah delivers this shift directly to your heart. This surah takes you on a journey through the power of Allah, how He creates, how He gives, how He withholds, how He brings life, how He decides destiny, and how nothing in this world happens without His permission. When your heart absorbs these realities, your relationship with rizq changes forever. You stop running behind money with fear, and you start walking toward Allah with certainty, knowing that whatever is written for you will reach you even if the entire world tries to stop it. It is in this state of trust that rizq truly begins to flow. Suddenly your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, your effort becomes more blessed, and your dua becomes deeper. You no longer fear tomorrow because you know the one who controls tomorrow. You no longer panic about the future because you trust the one who has already written your future. This level of yaqeen rarely comes from effort alone, it comes from surrender, and this surah teaches surrender in its most beautiful form. Many people say, I recited this surah every night and my life changed. But the reality is that their hearts changed first, and when the heart changes, everything else follows. Allah does not give rizq to a heart that is filled with fear and doubt, but He opens the treasures of the unseen for the heart that believes with certainty. Surah Al-Waqi'ah helps you build that certainty gently, deeply, consistently. And when certainty settles in the heart, the chains of blockage that once felt so heavy begin to fall off one by one until you finally stand in front of Allah with the humility of someone who understands. My rizq was never delayed, it was simply waiting for my heart to return to Him. The verse that rebuilds your trust in the one who provides. There comes a time in every believer's life when the heart begins to whisper doubts. Why is my rizq slow? Why is everything becoming harder? Why do some people receive so easily while I keep struggling? These questions are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your heart is seeking answers, and Allah, out of His mercy, placed those answers inside His book. Among them is a powerful verse within Surah Al-Waqi'ah that can rebuild your trust in the one who provides in ways you never imagined. Allah says in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, verses 58-62, a message so profound that if you truly internalize it, your entire relationship with rizq will transform. He asks you to reflect on the most basic acts of life. The seeds you sow, the water you drink, the fire you kindle. Through these simple examples, Allah reminds you that you control nothing, yet He makes everything easy for you. You might plant a seed, but you do not make it split open. You do not command the roots to grow. You do not order the fruits to form. You place it in the soil and hope, but the growth comes from Allah alone. When this truth enters your heart, it breaks the illusion that your income is yours because of your strength, your intelligence, or your planning. It shifts you into a new reality, a peaceful reality where you understand that your job is effort, your work is effort, your planning is effort, but the result is purely in Allah's hands. You begin to realize that stressing over what is written does not increase it, and panicking over what is delayed does not bring it any closer. Rizq flows according to Allah's wisdom, not your anxiety. This one verse teaches you that the same Allah who grows a seed in darkness, feeds a fish in the depths of the ocean, and brings rain from a sky that looked clear moments before, that same Allah is in charge of your provision. And if He cares for every creature on earth, will He not care for a believer who turns to Him with trust? When this understanding enters your heart, your dua becomes stronger, your patience becomes deeper, and your effort becomes more sincere. You stop thinking, what if I don't get enough? And start thinking, Allah will give me exactly what is meant for me at the time that is best for me. This shift removes the unnecessary pressure you place on yourself and replaces it with a calmness that carries you through every financial storm. My beloved brothers and sisters, many Muslims recite this surah without absorbing this one message. The moment you let go of the illusion of control, Allah opens doors you did not even know existed. The moment you stop tying your happiness to numbers, Allah fills your heart with peace. And the moment you stop fearing about tomorrow, Allah showers you with blessings that you never expected. This verse is not just a reminder, it is a spiritual awakening. It teaches your heart to breathe again, to rest again, to trust again. It tells you that Allah has never forgotten you, never abandoned you, and never withheld anything except to give you something better later. And when this belief becomes rooted in your heart, your rizq begins to flow with the ease that comes from true reliance upon the provider. The doors of rizq open when the heart learns true reliance. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is something profound that many people overlook when they speak about rizq. They focus on effort, on business strategies, on opportunities, on connections, on the world outside. But the reality is that the greatest doors of provision do not begin outside you,